Sanctions are supposed to pressure governments into changing their behavior. But here's the strange part. In most cases, sanctions don't collapse regimes, don't force surrender, and don't end conflicts. So why do governments keep using them? This video isn't about defending or attacking any country. It's about understanding how sanctions actually work in practice, not how they're described in press conferences. Because once you look at history, a clear pattern starts to appear. On paper, sanctions are meant to weaken a country's economy, reduce government revenue, increase public pressure, and force leaders to negotiate. The theory is simple: make life difficult enough, and change will follow. But reality is rarely that simple. In practice, sanctions usually do something very different. They hurt regular citizens first, raise prices and shortages, strengthen black markets, and give governments an external enemy to blame. Instead of weakening leadership, sanctions often centralize power. And that's the opposite of what most people expect. So if sanctions don't work, why are they still used? Because sanctions are often not about immediate results. They're about signaling strength, buying time, limiting options, shaping long-term pressure. Sanctions are less like a weapon and more like a constraint. Another overlooked effect is how markets react. Oil prices, currencies, and trade routes often move before sanctions are fully enforced. This means sanctions influence behavior psychologically, not just economically. And markets tend to react faster than governments. When you compare decades of sanctions, a pattern emerges. Leaders rarely collapse immediately. Systems adapt, new trade partners appear, pressure turns into long standoffs. Sanctions don't end stories, they slow them down. The uncomfortable truth is this: sanctions are often used to manage situations, not resolve them. They allow governments to act without escalation while keeping future options open. That's why sanctions appear so often, even when they don't win. Once you understand this, global news starts to make more sense. Because the next time sanctions are announced, the real question isn't who they're targeting, it's what phase the situation has entered. If you want calm explanations of global politics without noise or panic, subscribe. Because the real story usually isn't the headline.